Hi, welcome to my video. I'm Jennifer Roberts. You're catching me on my YouTube channel, True Divine 44. You can also get me on my Facebook page, True Divine, and it is the True Divine for both Instagram and Twitter. Any likes, shares, subscribes and comments are greatly appreciated on any or all of those platforms, and much love to everybody who's doing that thus far. So this is part of the free content that I put out on a daily basis to help support, guide and inspire those who want to be supported, guided and inspired. So this is for the 13th of August 2020. I work with energy, I work with tarot, I combine the two to help you navigate on this day and every other day that I put these videos out there. Because it's general, some of it might resonate with you and some of it might not. Parts of it might make complete sense and parts of it might take some time to unfold or just not be for you at all, or the full reading might feel like a personal reading to you. If it does, run with it and take it. So just use your own discernment, take what resonates in your heart and leave the rest behind. So for the 13th of August 2020, the first card is this Knight of Pentacles keeps coming up. So it took a bit longer today to try and decipher what I needed to say, or whether it was a completely separate message from the same energy, the same card for somebody else. It's not a completely separate message, it's a repetitive message because it means something to many. So the Knight of Pentacles here, you can see that he is holding his horse, he's having to control his horse, he's having to use some force, some self-control and control over the horse to stay on the path. The horse wants to bolt in a different direction, it wants to go in an impulsive direction, in an impulsive way. So that bearing in mind, there's some control, there's some force pulling against a lot of people right now, which on the collective stage, you don't have to be Einstein to figure out what that is. There's a huge force, outside force, that is being placed on the collective with all of these games and manipulations and lies and contradictions that we're seeing on the collective stage, within the political stage, the elite, the globalists, Hollywood, all of the above, royalty. Our royalty, funnily enough, nicely enough, hasn't been seen or heard of very much at all. I do hope they're doing well wherever they are. So, sorry, that's my little bit of a against the royal family in the UK. You know, they are pirates. They never really belonged on that seat. Nobody really belongs on that seat. But that's the kind of thing. There's lots of players in the game. There's lots of opposing forces that would seem to be suited better if you could see it and feel it for what it is on a big dramatic movie script, on a big movie screen. But that is what's happening. These people get into the game and they play it full force. To give them credit, you know, they come here, they've taken their places and they play full force. They play brutal chess. The only problem is that now this cycle needs to be coming to an end, but we are trying to stop our horse from bolting. Things have to be done from the collective stage down into our individual lives in a strategic way. We need to be able to find a way that works for us and the closest to us to make a better place, a better reality, to make a difference for the good, to build something that is sustainable and good. Now this Knight of Pentacles knows how to strategize, he knows how to plot a path forward, but if he's continuously putting energy into something that needs to be let go of, maybe for some people it is the role that they need to play right now, to hold on to this horse that really wants to bolt. But maybe for some people that will listen to this reading, it's time for you to let go of that horse, whatever that horse might represent. Something that you've been trying to make work, something that you've been sort of almost one foot in the grave springs to mind. And I don't mean that morbidly, I mean that living in the past, in this grave, in this cycle in your life that needs to end. With one foot, you've got one foot in there, but at the same time, you're trying to plot a path forward for progression and for a level up, for a better reality. And so for those people that resonates with, one foot in the grave never really works. The longer you keep that foot in there, it will rot, and will bolt away from you, it'll fall off, if you like. I know that does sound pretty morbid. We're talking movie scripts today. That's the kind of visions I've had all day today. So it's a double-edged card here. There's some people that need to be part of the role right now is to hold on to this horse and strategize and almost use it to gain the progression for the greater good. So we see that on the collective stage a lot, in that I feel it, I see it in my visions, that there are people in the collective stage that have managed to be here, managed to infiltrate the upper echelons of society, if you want to call it that. And things might not be as they seem. They might look like they're backing or holding on to something or looking after something on the collective stage when actually they are part of the unpicking of it. So bear that in mind. It's going to make sense for some and not for others. The other thing is to say to that is that you might have felt like you've been holding on to this horse for a long time. And if you have, that's tiring. My daughter has horses. She speaks equine and she can calm the most angry horse, upset horse, frightened horse. She can calm them. She can do it without force. She can work with them. Both of them bend to each other's will. And so, but to an unskilled hand, when I try and help her with the horses, they take no notice of me unless they want to, because that's not my skill set. I can talk to them when they're in pain. I can talk to them when I'm doing any kind of healing on them. But other than that, that's when they want me there. That's when they want to allow me space to do something. So there's other people like me that are holding on to these symbolic horses, that it's too much energy. There's too much energy being drawn out of you. It's time to let that horse bolt, find its own way and plot your own path. Be the strategic Knight of Pentacles, the dependable Knight of Pentacles. That's another thing that might resonate with some people, in that you've been known as the Mr. or Mrs. Dependable in the family or friendship group. And now is the time that, maybe you've ingrained in yourself that you always have to be Mr. or Mrs. Dependable for others. Now is the time that we have to be on our individual journey first and foremost. And then the right people will be able to be surrounded by the right people. By doing that, things will fall into place by doing that, being individuals as part of the collective. But that might mean that your circle changes. It might mean that it's no longer your role to be Mr. or Mrs. Dependable in that certain group that you've been trying to hold on to, or that certain someone that you've been trying to hold on to. The good news is that good news is on the way in the Six of Fire to clarify it. And this means that however this resonates with you, and you'll know in your heart which side of the energy of this card, the Knight of Pentacles, resonates with you. Once you either tame that horse and plot along with it a little bit longer, or let it bolt, let go and let it bolt, set it free, there's good news. If you do the right thing for you, there's advancement, there's victory in that, where you've been feeling like things have been taking too long and you're getting exhausted holding on to this power, this force that is within this very strong beast, this very strong horse. Doing whatever is right for you, however it resonates with you, will bring you relief, victory, advancement. You'll know immediately that you've made the right decision, whichever way it resonates with you which decision to go with. The second card being this Judgment card keeps coming up again. This is why I had to take a little bit longer today to feel this, to look at this reading. So the Judgment card coming up again in a different deck. So swap the decks around for which one was clarifying, which one wasn't, because I have been getting very repetitive cards. For me, that is a sign that there is very strong energies around that are being a driving force towards something or some things, or for some people, someone. So the Temperance card, Judgment card, sorry. So the Judgment card here in this deck is depicting Moses parting the sea. And so I had to think heavily on that. And first I want to say is that water is a magical element in that we are mainly made up of water. The realm that we live in is mainly made up of water. Water is an essential life force. You know, we know that if we label jars of water with positive words or negative words and reinforce that with intent each day, we'll see either beautiful symmetrical crystals under a microscope on the positively labelled jar, or we'll see distorted, disfigured crystals, water crystals under the microscope on the negatively labelled jar. And so water is, it has a memory, it has the imprint. And I think we've come to a time where, as the end of a big cycle draws near, what have we allowed ourselves to be labelled? If you picture us all as individual jars, what kind of labels have we allowed? One, ourselves, and two, others, and three, the systems that we've been living under. What kind of labels, what kind of sticky notes have we been allowed to be stuck all over us, to penetrate and imprint on our inner waters? What do we really believe and see about ourselves? We need to lift those labels from ourselves that are damaging to us, that distort our view, that distort our knowledge regarding about how powerful we really are, how compassionate we really can be, how intelligent we really are, how free thinking we really can be, how peaceful we can be, even when we have differing views. And so, where are your waters parted? Where are you in some kind of cognitive dissonance, speaking well over yourself 1 minute, or allowing others to speak well over yourself 1 minute, and then the next minute vice versa, doing it, you know, speaking ill of yourself and allowing others to speak ill of you? So where are your waters separated? Where are you at a disadvantage because you have this part in this wedge that things can infiltrate, can get in even more so and imprint on you even more so? Or are your waters, have you been doing that inner work to make your waters whole, to make your crystals symmetrical, beautiful, balanced? We need to do this work, and it has to start from within. You know, it's a mythical story that it symbolizes the Israelites' freedom from the Egyptians, doesn't it? It symbolizes that, if you want to look at it in a way that, for whatever reason, it wants to tell us that we can liberate from those systems that will try and overload over us, that will try and become gods over us themselves. That we as individuals can literally make a path within ourselves, part our waters in a good way within ourselves, to go back to being this Knight of Pentacles, to strategize and work our way through. And yes, it is hard work doing the inner work. It really is, especially when you're releasing yourself from limitations. But you know, We have the power to do that, to carve a path within, in our inner grounds, to really lift ourselves and liberate ourselves to a thought pattern of that is of freedom, that is of empowerment, not being disabled, not having ourselves externalize our power force to anything or anyone that will pop along to try and have a little bit more power and overload over us. And so this really spoke to me today, to carve that path within and be intentful and deliberate about it. Now I know that it might put a lot of people in fear, because there's nothing that creates more fear in my experience of people and being one myself than to face self. When we've allowed ourselves certainly to be degraded and abused, and even degraded and abused ourselves, it takes a lot of strength to do that. But with that, the judgment card calls on us again to do this, to find our soul's path, what we came here to do, what we wanted to liberate here, what we wanted to prove here, what we wanted to experience here and be here. And so it is an important calling, and it is a deep, deep soul to the depths of self in this reality calling, to rise up and carve a path within that will separate the waters that have been degraded, that have been abused and held back and distorted, and allow the waters of self-belief, empowerment, strength and fortitude to infiltrate those waters that have been labelled. When the sea comes back and washes it all away, washes all of that will try and control you and abuse you away, then that's what's happening within in a lot of people. And it is a deep, deep moment. It's an intimate moment in a lot of people's lives. Thank goodness right now, because that's what we need. So the strength card is the energy that promises that you have this balance of this divine feminine and divine masculine within. And when you have that within you and exalt that within you, it will start to surround you on the outside also. People will come that also have this balance, that you can share this journey with, that you can share your deepest thoughts with, that you can be spiritually whole with, and be able to discern what is happening within you, because they've gone through or going through the same thing. When you're balanced within in your divinities, the divinities around you will become balanced. The right people will be attracted into your life. Your tribe will be attracted into your life. But for a lot of people, it does mean letting go of the old, and that might be old tribes, old people that don't match up to your frequency anymore. But this strength card promises that even if you're completely alone, you're not alone. Even if you're physically needing to cut yourself off from the world right now while you go through this, your divine feminine and divine masculine balance within is more than capable of carrying you through this. The divine feminine, the intuition of knowing how to carve that path, the compassion of the divine feminine to carry you through while you release yourself from all of those limitations, while you go to your underground, while you go through the Pluto transit, so to speak, the planet of the underground, the underworld. As you go through that huge transformational time, the divine feminine being there to guide you, and your divine masculine, this lion that takes the action to know that when the path is clear, to carve that way through you, to part the seas, for you to see a way through, to start walking your way through, knowing that it will succeed in doing this. The Knight of Swords is the last card here. And the Knight of Swords in this deck is depicted as impetuous and very active. His two horses are raging ahead. His chariot is speeding ahead, and he is balanced though. Look at his feet. He's balanced in his truth. So he is actually slaying some people here. He's slaying the lies, the corruption and the betrayal. But most of all, he's slaying that within, the lies and corruption that you've told yourself about yourself. And that brings deep alignment. This Ten of Cups is a promise of deep, absolute alignment, emotional balance and fulfillment, a time of rest and a time of plenty where your waters have met together again and they are beautiful crystals. The water within you is made up of beautiful, symmetrical, balanced, aligned crystals. And so it is a promise that when you can be brave enough to speak truth to self, to go through this huge transition that you're going through, absolute wholeness is there for you to be had. On the bottom of the deck we have the Two of Pentacles, and so the Two of Pentacles here, you see again, I go back to this Knight of Pentacles in that what are you struggling for? Are you struggling? Look how much this man is having to measure out for this Emperor type energy here. What he's having, look at how much work he's had to put in for the small amount of coin to balance that out. So we need to strategize and find a better way of existing. That isn't right. That Two of Pentacles, that picture isn't right. That's not how people should or need to exist, should have to or need to exist. The Four of Cups here on the bottom of the other deck, the promise from the heavens, and where you've been fooling yourself that you're satisfied with this lot in life. You know, you can fool yourself no more. But if you look up, if you look around, if you strategize, if you go within, if you take the call-ins of the universal energies right now, the promises are there for full fulfillment. That hand from the heavens, so to speak, with the cups, everything that you need within it for you to take this journey and succeed, like this Knight of Swords is taking no for an answer. And so that is the reading, a very, very powerful, very deep reading for those that it resonated with on the 13th of August 2020. If you would like a private reading with me, any energy work, any spiritual guidance, we'll have a laugh, we might cry. It's all up for grabs in the readings at the minute. A lot of people are going through a lot, and that's good. We're clearing things out, we're moving forward, we're doing the inner work. What more could we ask for? We're bringing in a new cycle, and it's looking promising for how we are bringing in this new cycle. So if you'd like any of that, you can get in touch with me with the details below. Other than that, you can hit me up at Facebook at True Divine on my business page. Drop me a private message there and we'll get you hooked up. Much love to you all. Be balanced and be whole always. Mwah.